Welcome back to Wrasslin City, another episode of the Wrasslin City Podcast. My name is Taylor,
And I'm Ryler.
and thank you guys for making us a part of your weekend. We hope you guys are having a great weekend so far. Right now, for us, it is 11:30 at night, but obviously by the time this is uploaded to YouTube, it'll be about middle of the day Saturday. So thank you guys for joining us, and we're happy to have you guys here.
Yeah, we're trying to find out what works best for our schedule. Usually we record these Saturday morning, but I'm pretty busy with school, so it's a little hard. But we always, we cover these weekly episodes, what's going on Raw and SmackDown. And we decided that this time, in order to cover the news more effectively, instead of it's still going to be similar to what we've been doing, but instead of going from through Raw and SmackDown in a timeline, like what's going on in the opening and then going on in the main event and then jumping over to SmackDown. We're instead going to be covering the major events that are going on in the week. So we will be covering stuff like Cody Rhodes and The Rock, Roman Reigns, what they're going on with on these weekly segments, and we'll bundle them all together to kind of make them more effective so you guys can get more information on those segments so we don't have to keep on touching back to the exact same points that we just did before. So
Hmm.
hopefully you guys enjoy this formatting a lot more.
Yeah, I hope you guys do. We're just trying different things out. We are a new channel on YouTube, new wrestling, whatever you guys want to call it. Pod,
Wrestling.
yeah, new podcast. So we're obviously still trying things out. But before we get into everything, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. Join the greatest city in the world, Wrasslin City. We're trying to build something special here, and we need you guys along for that. So, and make sure you to like the video and share. If you know a wrestling buddy, share this with them. That's all I gotta say. So I guess we can just get right into it. Now, like we did mention, it is a little late, so we are both a little tired, so we might mess up on a few things, but we'll try to power through it the best we can. So, I mean, I want to start off with Cody Rhodes and his promo from Monday night, because for a while we've been, with Cody Rhodes, it's like it's just been kind of like sitting back and just taking all these uh, shots from The Rock and Roman Reigns, and we haven't seen him like get back at him in any way really, except for the slap that he had on The Rock a few weeks ago. But I mean, this promo, he really laid it out there this week. He's talking about The Rock, obviously. He had to get back at The Rock after the Rock concert that took place last week, and he pretty much started off saying how The Rock thinks he's a heel, and he doesn't think The Rock's a heel. He really thinks he's more of an asshole than a heel. And he mentions how The Rock brought up him crying in his promo last week, and then he says, Rock, haven't you been doing the crying as well? Like backstage, you've been crying to your TKO buddies ever since they started chanting something different with the whole "We want Cody," and he just called a bunch of the TKO like board members a bunch of yes men. Like, yes, Rock, do this, do that. Wear your $500, you know, what is it that they call it? The vest. Uh,
What, the investments?
No, the shirt that he has the Rock
Oh,
wears
the
now.
thousand P. Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. The suit that he bought. What is it called? I mean, now with inflation, it's completely different than what it used to be called.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the Versace one, yeah.
yeah. Versace. That's what I'm getting my brands. I was gonna go with Gucci, but yeah, like I said, it is late, so my brain's just trying to
Before it
catch
was
up with
five
me.
hundred dollars, but five hundred
Yeah,
dollars that's not going to be anything now. So it's
yeah.
probably
I
like
mean, back then in what
5,000
like
now.
2002 or
Yeah,
whatever, that was. I mean, nobody did want to spend that much money, but With inflation now, oof, there ain't no telling how much that is. But yeah, back to the promo. Yeah, he mentions how like, yeah, you should wear your Versace vest. Do this, do that, and he pretty much just calls Rock a whiny bitch. Pretty much, that's pretty much what he called him. And then he talks about their tag team match coming up at WrestleMania, and then he kind of mentions like, so Rock, like what version of the Rock are we gonna get? Are we gonna get the great one? Are we gonna get the one that I looked up to as a hero when I was growing up? Are we gonna get that big Dwayne energy? Are we gonna get big Dwayne energy? Or are we just gonna get LDS, little dick syndrome?
Yeah, with Cody, it has been nice because it seems like they definitely have been listening to the fans when it comes to these segments. So they started out with obviously all the stuff with it originally being planned to be Rock versus Roman Reigns, and then they switched over. I mean, allegedly, changed their plans. So they listened in that way, and then they made Rhodes get his payback with the slap. And people have been saying basically that, and we were saying that too the other week, that he just hasn't been as aggressive. Rock's been calling out him, he's been calling out his family, he's been sending all these shots, and Cody's just been just taking it.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been
Yeah.
saying that he needs to have more aggression. He needs to be more passionate and call out Rock in these promos. And this week was exactly what we needed. He definitely has more in the past few weeks. There's been a lot more profanity, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, Now it's nothing like when Rock had that Instagram video and he was he was basically cussing like every other sentence.
Yeah,
But
he was
it's
pretty
not.
much using like
They
every
can't go to
cuss
that
word
level,
that there
but they
is.
can. They're still pushing boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really nice. I'm glad they've at least changed it up a little bit.
Yeah, they have. And you know, because you mentioned all the cuss words that they've been using, and it's kind of like a lot of people on social media are like starting to think like, are they coming to an end with the PG era? And because there was a report, right? There was a report last weekend before this Monday Night Raw promo that Cody Rhodes cut, and apparently a lot of like the other superstars backstage were like upset that the Rock's being able to say all these cuss words and on their social media and in his promos, and there's like a strict guideline for like WWE wrestlers now. Like, they're not allowed to like say like cuss words in their social media post or in their promos when they're on TV. But and then I saw another report that apparently the people at TKO, like, they want the product to be PG, and they kind of want Rock to set an example. So like he should be doing PG stuff as well, but obviously he hasn't. He's been dropping the F bomb in almost every other line that he's using in his promo. So
Yeah, so it's kind of hard. Well, okay, so first, when it comes to the things like turning, end of PG era, I do not think that's going to happen.
yeah, no, I
We
don't
have
either.
we've been getting these reports that TV 14 is going to happen for a while now. It seems like I mean, at least a few times a year. 2023, I remember that happening.
Yeah, me too.
2022, I distinctly remember that happening in
Hmm.
summer when Triple H took over. They said it was going to turn TV 14. That didn't happen, obviously, but they are pushing the boundaries of the PG product for sure. But it really, with how it's been nowadays, obviously this is just to do with their business. They can't, that's going to affect who they can advertise to. And so I don't think I think for those reasons they're not going to end up changing to TV 14. But like I said, they're definitely pushing the boundaries of what can be considered PG.
Yeah, and I also wonder because Raw is going to Netflix starting next year. I wonder what their like TV rating will be on Netflix. So
Hmm.
that
I wonder if they'll have more or less like restrictions when it comes to that, because then they're gonna have, I mean, hypothetically, they're gonna have less advertisers to answer to because they
hmm
are being fun. I mean, this is what, like one of, if not the biggest deal in WWE history. I think it was
yeah,
the right
it was like
biggest,
500 billion or something around there. It was
some massive amount.
yeah,
So
it was over like
they
10 years too.
should need to rely less on like advertisers during those breaks or whatnot, commercial breaks. So from what I know, it should put less restrictions on it. I'm really optimistic when it comes to that, but as always, we'll see. That's pretty far out from now.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely is. But back to the Cody promo, he talks about more of The Rock, and he brings up, he says, I'm having a brain fart here, sorry, but he mentions The Rock being called the final boss, and he pretty much says, you can thank Brian Gwartz. He's Rock's like personal writer. He said you can thank him for that. And then he says that I don't think at WrestleMania you'll be the final boss. I think you'll be more of Roman Reigns' side chick. And it actually, Brian Gwartz actually took to social media after that, and he said that he did not give The Rock the final boss or any line or anything, but he did say that he told The Rock to specifically talk about your goofy ass dog. Talking about
Pharaoh.
Pharaoh. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so first shout out to how you say it, Brian Gewirtz.
Yeah, Brian
He
Gewirtz, yeah.
is basically one of the main people for the background or for the creative writing for the Ruthless Aggression era. He
hmm
is known for, I mean, a lot of Kurt Angle segments, Edge and Christian, like the milk bat, or was it milk truck segment where he sprayed the Alliance? That was all his idea. So one of the goated writers.
Yeah.
I did not get that part during that segment, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did actually have a hand in that segment. I think that it's cool that they are breaking the third wall and at least mentioning stuff like that, you know? It's a great way for them to make things, even though obviously, backstage they probably do get along, it's a good way to make it seem the tension seem a lot more real, you know? It seems like
hmm
they do this with a lot of segments where they try and break down those boundaries, but it feels forced, kind of like that that's just part of script for them to say that. But then when they have all these things where they break down those third or those fourth walls, yeah, I think that's a great factor, a great thing to add to this storyline.
Yeah. And speaking of Cody Rhodes in this promo, this is probably like his best promo since he's been back in the WWE. I mean, it's up there. I mean, it's about time that he finally, you know, stood up for himself pretty much. I mean, it's just been week after week. He's just been letting The Rock and Roman Reigns just pretty much bully him, but he's finally stepped up to for himself. So
Yeah,
props to
yeah.
him.
And I mean, obviously he's really good with promos, so
hmm
it would be he has a bunch of good promos like that you could consider one of his best. But yeah, it definitely was better than what he's done the past few weeks.
Yeah. So this Cody promo was really good, and then he had another really good promo on SmackDown as well. We finally got a face to face between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns without any interruptions or without The Rock showing up, trying to take Cody's spot like he did back in February. And man, this promo was I enjoyed it, especially the ending, which we'll get to in a little bit. Roman Reigns starts off by saying, like, why are you like, how are you going to trust Seth Rollins? Seth Rollins says he's your shield, but do you remember when we were the shield and he stabbed me in the back? And then, obviously Cody Rhodes, he remembers that he was around during that time. And then he says that, yeah, the Shield was a dominant faction, but do you remember who ended y'all's undefeated streak? Let me give you a hint. The last name was Rhodes. Obviously, talking about when him and Dustin Gold Dust defeated them at, I think it was Battleground 2013, and they won the tag team titles. I think that's when it was.
which is weird because I know for a fact that their first loss was when Daniel Bryan made them tap out on SmackDown. But I guess that happened in the same, like probably the same month or so. I guess that was summer of 2013, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Cody Roman Reigns brings back he fires back at Cody. He says, you're just a number two. You went on and did your thing elsewhere. You became a number one guy there, but you'll never be a number two guy here. I'm always going to be number one. And then Cody Rhodes comes back, and then he says, yeah, number two, that's all right, but at WrestleMania, come WrestleMania, I'm going to be the one. Pretty much saying he's going to be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns. And then Cody Rhodes tries to shake Roman Reigns' hand. Roman Reigns just looks at him like, "Are you? What are you doing?" And he kind of just he leaves the ring. And I look down at my phone, and there's like 4 minutes left. And I'm like, okay, obviously something's going to happen. And Roman Reigns just kind of walks out of the ring, and then he stops, and he stands there, and then he snaps his fingers. And I'm like, yep. And then here comes Jimmy and Solo Sikoa. They come through the crowd, and then they walk past the ring to Roman Reigns, and then they kind of just showed Cody Rhodes, and he kind of starts smiling a little bit, and then out comes Jay, and then out comes Seth Rollins, and then they close the show for SmackDown with a face-off between all six of them, which I thought was fantastic. I really enjoyed that segment.
Yeah, so I mean, first full disclosure, I was working tonight, so I was not able to actually watch SmackDown live. But yeah, like you said, it's really insane because I can remember last year when all this stuff was happening with, the culmination of Sami Zayn leaving Bloodline and Cody Rhodes getting his first title match. And I remember as the year was ending, it was like the end of 2023, I was like, wow, this was really a fantastic storyline. And I can't imagine 2024 having something that is as compelling or tops this in terms of piquing my interest.
Yeah, yeah, because I
But
remember me and you had a lot of talks about that. Like,
yeah, I did. I was not very optimistic about what 2024 had to offer for that, but it's really been it's crazy how like in this segment alone, they are not maybe not culminating, but they are adding to so many different things at once right now. It's
hmm
crazy how seamless they combine them too, because it's not just a simple like six-man tag match or like something like that. We're talking about what, four matches on WrestleMania, right? Isn't it four? Two main events, Rollins and McIntyre, and Jimmy and Jay.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's going to be a match for Solo or anything like that. There might be on like the pre-show or something like that. But they're doing so much at once, and with this one segment, they are getting so much done, and it's yeah, they've been needing to have this moment too where Roman and Cody can have a face to face to get those words out, say what they wanted to say to each other's face. And I'm glad that the bloodline stuff didn't happen until after they said what they needed to say.
yeah. Another thing, Cody actually mentioned during this promo, he talked about if Roman Reigns can trust The Rock, and then he talks about, you call yourself the tribal chief, and then The Rock calls himself the final boss. So like, who's really in charge of the bloodline now after all of that?
Yeah, last week on SmackDown, the like Rock during his concert, he said the final boss like a few times during that.
Yeah,
And
and then the
obviously they're just adding
commentary.
to those
Hmm.
tensions. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the commentary right after called him the final boss. So,
Yeah, they're really hammering that like they're getting that point through now.
hmm and you mentioned Jimmy and Jay during they had a little face off as well during that little closing segment, and they had a promo on Monday Night Raw, and dude, they got me hyped for this match. I cannot wait for this. Another
Yeah.
brother versus brother match. I mean, you've had Brett versus Owen, you had Matt versus Jeff, and now you get Jimmy versus Jay. And I made a video about this, wondering if there should be a stipulation for this match. And honestly, I think there should. Just, I mean, they're brothers, you know. I mean, what match did Jeff and Matt have? They had what, a street fight or
They had a I don't know what it I don't know what it was considered. Their match at Backlash was an I Quit match, and their match at WrestleMania ended with like a he was diving off a ladder and then he hit the twist of fate through the chair. So I don't think it was it
yeah.
wasn't a TLC. Maybe yeah, maybe just a no holds barred or something like that.
Yeah, and I really think you should do that with this one as well. I mean, they're brothers. They hate each other now. I mean, Jimmy's just I like what Jimmy said. He said that pretty much talked about, why would you leave us? Why would you go on and win tag team champions without me? And he said that your biggest moment is going to be facing me at WrestleMania. And Jay went back and said, "No, my biggest moment is when I beat the yeet out of you." And then he attacked he attacked Jimmy, and then obviously Solo came into the ring, and Cody
all
Rhodes ended up making the save. But
all the stuff with Jimmy and no eat is
yeah,
so funny. I think that this has the potential to be, I don't know, there's a lot of matches going into WrestleMania that we look at and say this could be match of the night. So I don't know if this might actually end up being the match of the night. Uh, as we've seen in the
it
past,
has potential
yes,
for
it does
sure.
for sure. As we've seen in the past, like with Jeff and Matt Hardy, they can mess that up when it has a lot of build up because their match at WrestleMania, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't as good as it could be. So I do worry when it comes to that. But man, I feel like Triple H has a lot with under his creative direction. I feel like they have a lot bigger of a chance of fully capitalizing on this because it's I mean this storyline writes itself. They're
Hmm.
related. They've been beefing now. I mean, technically it was made official just a few weeks ago, but this split happened. What he turned on it, it was SummerSlam, so it's
Hmm.
been going on for a while now. So all they need to do is just put on a good match. That storyline is already. They just got to continue the momentum for what another week or two.
Because I remember like back when he did turn on him, and everybody automatically said, "Oh, these two are going to fight at WrestleMania." And you had some people saying, "Why are they going to wait that long? Like, are they going to be able to like keep this story going on for
Yeah,
that long?" And they did a really good job doing that, moving Jay to Raw, having Jimmy still come and cost him what he cost him the tag team titles. He's cost him the World Heavyweight title. He's cost him the Intercontinental title. So. I mean, they've done a really good job keeping this story hot ever since August, and it's finally going to culminate at WrestleMania.
yeah, they've done a good job with letting it cool off a little bit. They haven't maintained that tension the entire time. There were times where they were off doing their own separate thing, but now that they're actually directly interacting with each other, they managed to continue the momentum for what 8 months, and now it's time for all this to pay off. And I think that, like I was saying before we started recording, I think that is a very big possibility that I think Jimmy Uso has a good chance of winning. And let me not go into that too much. I can save that for once we do our WrestleMania predictions video. But I think that they have a good chance to drag this out into a multi. They could do this until SummerSlam, honestly, if they book this all right. If they did some sort of match at WrestleMania, and then they did another, like, they were both involved in Money in the Bank or something like that, and they both were at each other's throats during that match, and then they had some crazy like Hell in a Cell or something at SummerSlam. So now that we're in the stages where they're actually fighting each other, this could the possibilities are really endless with this storyline.
Yeah, I think I'm on the other side of that of yours, but obviously we'll get into that when we do our predictions, which will be soon because we're like 3 weeks
Yes,
away from
yep.
WrestleMania. I think 15
There's a
days
lot to
right
talk
now.
about that.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and we
Okay.
can go into another match that I would be excited for, only if there was another person involved that isn't this person, and I'm talking about Gunther and Sami Zayn. So Gunther and Sami Zayn had their little contract signing to make their match official for their match at WrestleMania. And Gunther, he's in a suit. He's all, looks all nice and everything. And then Sami's out there in like a t-shirt and like sweatpants. And
Like the
he's like,
Mick
why?
Foley route.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's like, why am I facing a guy that looks like this? He pretty much calls Sami Zayn a bum. And then that's pretty much it. And then I I think it was before or after. Was it after? No, I think it was before this segment. Uh, Sami Zayn runs into Chad Gable backstage, and then he goes up to him and says, "Hey, we haven't got to talk since last week, so I just want to talk to you." And then Sami Zayn's just wanting to know, like, why does this mean so much to you? And then he says, I mean, and then he's asking, like, why does it mean so much to you? I mean, and then Chad Gable brings up that like, he wants to do this for his family, and then Sami Zayn's just like, I mean, like, why are you so against me? And then he pretty much just says like, I don't think you can beat Gunther, which I mean he's right. So
Yeah. I mean, so it's a little. So when it comes to this storyline, I totally understand why people are on the fence when it comes to this, upset because they feel like Chad Gable should have gotten this match. And don't get me wrong, I've always enjoyed Chad Gable's work. I loved when he had his matches earlier this year against Gunther. His stuff in Alpha Academy was great. But now that this is all happening, I think that, like I said, I don't want to rehash too much of what I said last week, but it does really, man, people are just being fickle. They're just turning on Zayn. And I think that it's crazy because people are saying in the same sentence, I saw so many people talking on social media saying that basically that from a real life standpoint, Sami Zayn isn't the underdog because he's had all these championship wins. He's main evented WrestleMania at this point. He's won the tag titles,
I mean they're
IC
right,
title.
honest,
He's
obviously.
decorated. I understand that, but I just don't understand how you can say that doesn't work for storyline purposes, and then in that same sentence be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Gunther totally winning at WrestleMania. Sammy has no chance." And then going, no, he's not the underdog. I don't know what he is, but it's not the underdog. But he's gonna lose. We're totally counting him out.
I mean
I don't
sports
know if
betting wise, I guess you'd call him the underdog, but
well
I
sports
mean
betting, but what are they just allowed to only go under, like, do they have to mention, is it have to just be from that real life championship perspective? I mean, we're talking about a storyline on a weekly show. I
I
feel
I
like
don't know.
from the storyline
I just feel like
perspective,
we've seen this Sami Zayn underdog story way too many times, honestly.
I mean, wouldn't it be the same thing with Chad Gable? I guess. I mean, let me, like I said, I understand that.
Chad Gable wants this match because he wants to put a smile on his daughter's face after Gunther made his daughter cry. I mean, that right there is a better story than Sami Zayn, in my opinion.
I think that they do have a chance for. So first of all, like we said, we're going along storylines of he's not an underdog, but let's just clear he's not winning at WrestleMania. We're all counting him out. But I think that since he's not winning at WrestleMania, this storyline, they have a chance for that to be used after WrestleMania. I think that they could use this because, like we're all agreeing on, Sami Zayn is not going to win this match because he's the underdog. He's the person that's supposed to not win this. And if they had Gable in this, they would just be throwing this away if they're planning Gunther retaining this. I mean, if Gable lost at WrestleMania, people would be pissed.
Yeah, because a part of me is kind of glad that Sami Zayn's in this match, just, because Chad Gable isn't going to be taking this loss again. So,
Yeah,
and I
that would
feel like
not
they
be
want
good.
Gunther to, I feel like Gunther's going to retain because, there's all those reports a few months ago before the whole Brock Lesnar stuff happened that the match at WrestleMania was going to be Gunther and Brock Lesnar, and obviously Gunther was going to retain that match. So I guess they just decided to throw Sami Zayn in there.
I don't know. I don't think you can ever say obviously Gunther is going to retain when you say Brock Lesnar. I think anything could happen with those type of matches. But
Yeah, but
they're in like long title reign mode as of the past few years. So I don't see Gunther like losing the title at WrestleMania. So I think that Gable, they are saving a lot of things that people don't give WWE enough credit for their long-term storytelling. A lot of
yeah,
times
yeah, you are
they
right.
they are like, oh, this should happen. And then they get mad when it doesn't happen. And then a few months down the line, we're like, that actually kind of makes sense why they did it like that.
Yeah,
So I think that, I don't know. I would just say that people shouldn't be too, what's the word? They shouldn't be too trigger happy on social media, be getting so mad about this whole situation when it could pay off in a totally. I mean, what if he gets this match at Money in the Bank or SummerSlam, and then he still has the chance to dethrone Gunther? It doesn't have to be at WrestleMania. So I think there's a lot of ways to go about this. I love Sami Zayn as a performer, and I will
I do
forever
too.
ride
I
for
do
that man,
too.
be behind him. So I'm glad to see him get the match. But like I said, he's not going to win.
No, he's not, and I'm gonna be happy when I'm just kidding. I'm just
Nah,
kidding.
nah.
I'm trying to get under your skin a little bit, but
Gunther is cool too. It's not like I dislike him. Let me get that clear.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I love Sammy. I'm always happy whenever that man wins.
Yeah, I am too, but storyline purposes, I feel like this would have been a lot better for Chad Gable, but obviously I always think back to the whole Brock Lesnar stuff, and
Yeah,
on
fair enough.
if that was to happen, I feel like Gunther was going to win because I mean you would have got a win over Brock Lesnar. That I mean that right there would have made him look
Yeah, it
like an
would have.
absolute star. So
Yeah, I agree.
I mean maybe things get cleared up and we can
We
get
could
that
still
match.
see that. Yeah,
Yeah, but only
we'll
time will
see.
tell. All right, so I guess we can get into the next segment that took place. I guess we'll just get into the Nia Jax and Becky Lynch. They had a last woman standing match, and man, this match was amazing. One of probably Nia Jax's best matches in her entire career. I mean, it's
Which is
debatable.
not saying much,
Yeah, which is not
but
saying much, but I
but
mean,
she has
she's
improved a
really,
lot.
yes, dude, she has
Yes,
improved so much since she's come back. And Becky Lynch did pick up the win. Man, because so I didn't get to see the full match. I did go back and see some of the highlights, but when I tuned in, it was right at the point where Nia Jax did a manhandle slam to Nia Jax off the apron through a table. Nia Jax gets back up. She kind of just, walks over to I think she just kind of like walks over to the announce table and just kind of like leans over it, and then Becky Lynch climbs up the ladder and hits a huge leg drop through Nia Jax through the announce table, and that would end up keeping Nia Jax down for the count. Becky Lynch won. And then after the match, Rhea Ripley comes out, and they kind of just have a stare off to end the show. And if I'm being
Yes,
honest,
I'm
I,
glad. I'm glad.
yeah, and if I'm being honest, this match really doesn't excite me. I mean, on paper, it's a good match, but man, the build for it just hasn't been there for me.
Yeah, it really hasn't. They haven't done much to further this rivalry. Now, like what I was saying, I'm glad that I would much rather it be a singles match between them than a triple threat with Nia Jax in it. And that seems like now that Nia has lost this match, she probably will not be involved in this. I don't think that's confirmed yet, but it's looking like it. And but even with this singles match, it's looking like this is going to be I don't know. Let me not rule them out and say a throwaway match at WrestleMania because they could always, you know, they still have the chance to blow the roof off the house in terms of match quality. But the storyline itself, there hasn't been much to it. It's just, I don't know. Becky Lynch is there saying that
Yeah,
she's the man, whatever. She's gonna take the title off Rhea. There's not anything that's very unique to it. It feels kind of just like a cookie cutter challenger versus champion storyline. So,
yeah.
yeah, I'm not really excited for it that much either. But like I said, I think it's better than a triple threat.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the match will be great. I mean, it's Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. You know, they're one of the two of the top performers in the company. But I mean, yeah, just the build. I mean, I'm just really not excited for it. But obviously, I know they'll put on a great match at Mania. But yeah, the build is just not what I expected from these two.
And that's cool. I mean, it's not every match for Reds because, I mean, there's so many matches that are going to happen at WrestleMania. I don't know how many there are that are confirmed, but
There's
obviously with
10
two
right now
nights,
confirmed.
10, yeah. So not every match, the build up is going to be a hit. There's going to be some misses. And I think this storyline is so far considered the miss. I at least would consider it that. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'll still be watching at WrestleMania, but yeah, this storyline, like you said, it hasn't been captivating me that much.
Yeah, I guess I'll just go into this. Another match that's taken place that night that really has got me excited now is LA Knight and AJ Styles. It's because what
Yeah.
happened on SmackDown earlier tonight. AJ Styles, you know, he's at his home in Georgia. Oh, he's supposedly at his home in Georgia. We don't.
Home.
Yeah, he's at his home, and he had some WWE cameramen with him, and he was getting ready to like talk about how he's preparing for his match with LA Knight, and uh, all of a sudden there's a car outside that starts honking their horn, and he's just like, "What the what's going on out there? Let's come on, guys, let's go check it out." So he walks outside to go see who's honking their horn, and there's LA Knight just in the driveway, just honking his horn, and they start fighting. They knock over the camera guy that's with them, and then they jump to the police body cam footage from when the police got called, and they start brawling. They have to have the police come pull them off. They throw LA Knight in the back of the cop car. They arrest LA Knight. So it'll be. I wonder if they'll like recreate the Dominic Mysterio entrance from last year when he pulled up in the
Comes out, yep.
cop van. Yeah,
Yeah. So obviously this is a la Randy Orton and Triple H,
yeah,
what happened
yeah.
in 2009.
Hmm.
Uh I think, man, any sort of segments like these where they go outside the ring and find creative ways to further the rivalry, I think is awesome. And of course, people on social media are gonna be whining because, oh, LA Knight should be involved in some bigger rivalry. But for him, and same thing with I've seen people complain about it for AJ too.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Me too.
they're put in a match at WrestleMania, or at least this is the way I see it. They have a solid match at WrestleMania that they're building up to, and it works for both people because AJ Styles right now he wasn't doing very much beforehand, and LA Knight last year, believe it or not, 2023, he did not have a match at WrestleMania. So seeing him go from this to facing AJ Styles is obviously fantastic for him.
Yeah.
And AJ, I think it's nice for him to have a new competitor, and he doesn't need to be facing for a title at this point. I mean, I get that he can win a title down the line, but him taking a little detour and feuding with somebody like this, it doesn't have to be for the title because he doesn't have to build his reputation. He already has that reputation. So
Hmm.
right now it's good for somebody like LA Knight to, although he isn't obviously a young star, he is still an up and comer in terms of WWE. So I think for what they did with where they were in their position on the card, I think this is a very good storyline.
Yeah, I do too for sure. And and when it comes to like AJ Styles and WrestleMania, he doesn't a lot of the matches that he's had at WrestleMania just haven't hit for me really. Maybe well outside of his match with Undertaker and well obviously that wasn't an actual match, it was a cinematic match, but
Yeah,
I still think that was his best Mania match that he's had so far. I
yeah,
mean,
you're right. I mean, when I
he's
think about
fought
it, Edge
because
and
he's
AJ Styles, that match was so underwhelming.
yeah, Edge and Randy. I mean, AJ Styles and Randy Orton was pretty underwhelming as well at WrestleMania 35.
Styles and
Styles and
Jericho
Jericho,
was
yeah.
terrible. Yeah, yeah, it's true.
Styles and Shane McMahon. That it was okay.
It was better than what people expected,
Yeah,
but
it was.
yeah,
It really was. But I honestly, I think this could be his best performance at Mania.
yeah, I hope
If
so. I
given
hope
the
so.
time, given the time,
And you know,
which
LA Knight's going to get a huge pop when he comes out,
oh
so the
yeah,
fans are going to be invested in this match.
yeah, they are. Um, yeah, AJ Styles and LA Knight. We actually didn't cover that last week, so I feel like we had to get that in
Yeah,
this week because they actually made that a match official last week. So yeah, there's 10 matches on the Mania card so far, and I think last year there was I think like 14, but that's with like the Miz and Miz and Shane McMahon match and Snoop Dogg. So I guess there was like
and
13.
we'll see as we
So
go along. They'll still add some more, I imagine.
yeah, I feel like I feel like you got to add a damage control, like Kabuki Warriors. Obviously, I feel like you got to have maybe a tag team match with them, or actually maybe I'm thinking instead of having them defend their tag team titles, which they just need to get rid of, I think you can do Kabuki Warriors and Dakota Kai, and you can have them face Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill at WrestleMania.
Yeah, they could. And I mean, I guess we can, I mean, since you mentioned that, we can talk about Jade Cargill she makes her SmackDown debut next week. That
Yeah,
was
and I don't
announced
know if
on
it's a
SmackDown.
match. I think they said she's just making an appearance, but we're finally going to see her on SmackDown. And I, the way they're making it out to be, it won't be just a backstage segment because I know she's had a few already with Bianca Belair and Naomi, so I guess that would make sense for.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to Jade, I think that made her debut. Wasn't it Fastlane? I want to say it was. Uh,
Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble, but she had her, what wasn't that when she came out of the car or whatever at Fastlane when she first signed with WWE?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, okay, well it was some pay-per-view in late 2023, I think. Maybe early 2024. Regardless, she's
Yeah,
had a little while on the
she's
main
been in the
roster.
WWE I think since like October of last
Yeah,
year.
yeah, exactly. And she hasn't done very much. So I don't know. Obviously, there's probably some real life influences that are outside of that, outside of it, besides creative control being the reason for that. But she, man, I think that now it's kind of hard with 1 week until WrestleMania. I do not think they should just put her into this match because damage control, that needs to be a whole separate storyline. I feel like that would be too what's the term for it? Like hot shot booking. I don't want her to just throw them into it without thinking, but they can definitely give her some build up that they can do for her to give her a match at WrestleMania to at least make her look strong. Maybe a match with some throwaway match she's gonna win that's gonna make her look good. And then maybe after WrestleMania, that's when they can start with her, like, and maybe Bianca Belair or some actual crazy match. But yeah, she's gonna finally start getting involved, hopefully getting mixed up now with the women's division.
Yeah, I
And
hope so. Because
the
I
sky is the
mean,
ceiling for her. Yeah.
yeah, it really is. Because I mean, I remember when she was first announced that she was coming to WWE, and I was like, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, I saw her a little bit, in AEW. I mean, I don't watch it, but I did see some clips of her, and I mean, she looks like a star, and I think she has so much potential if she's used right.
So
Because I think that was the issue for her in AE. Well, I think she won a title, like the TBS title or something. But
I know absolutely nothing about her AEW
yeah,
work. I know that she is strong and her, I mean, that's not, I know a lot of people enjoyed her work, and that's why I'm saying that I'm excited to see her. I don't have anything to base that off of. With me, I obviously that's a whole nother tangent. I didn't watch her previous work like that. So I know though that she is a good talent. She does, she has some good wrestling skills. She's a reliable worker. So I look forward to seeing what she's doing. And with the women's division, it's definitely not weak right now. There are a lot of notable names in the division, but her she's going to add a lot of value to it if she's booked right.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I think, yeah, after Mania is when we'll finally get to see a lot more of her. And her, you got Tiffany Stratton as well. Like the men's side, you got Braun Breaker. I know they showed a little video package for him too. He was doing some like broad jumps, and they were showing like how far he can jump and like how much he
Yeah.
can lift and stuff like that. So just hyping their that new sign. Man, SmackDown, dude. They got Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill. They got Braun
Yeah, they got
Breaker
future
coming.
talent. Yep.
Raw needs to step it up, dude.
Yep. It's
I
had
mean,
it
they
for
are
a
just.
while though.
I mean, Nick Aldis is just signing whoever he wants, I guess. And
Yeah.
NXT and Adam Pearce is just like, okay, go ahead.
We'll see. They can change this up over
Yeah, I mean,
by the end of
obviously, yeah,
2024.
because obviously after Mania you'll have the like a superstar shakeup or draft or whatever it is
Draft,
that they
whatever
call
they
it now.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we can end this with a segment of promo, which I think.
Well,
Go
first
ahead.
the tag title matches.
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah.
late. I'm sorry.
So there is going to be a tag title match, a ladder match at WrestleMania.
Mm,
It's six pack, isn't it? Six
yes,
tag teams.
six pack ladder match for the tag team titles.
And so we have had some qualifying matches over these past week or so, I think. So on Raw, DIY qualified, and Awesome Truth qualified, and New Day qualified. On SmackDown, they're I don't know, you were saying they're doing something a little weird because on Raw they're
Yeah, they're
doing
doing like
matches. Yeah, on Raw it's matches to directly like the winner qualifies. But on SmackDown, instead of the winner gets added to the match, they did winner gets added to the match next week to qualify for it. So we
yeah.
had two
So
matches on SmackDown that determined who we're going to face off next week to get
yeah,
this
yeah. On
match.
SmackDown tonight, you had it was Theory and Waller. They took on the Good Brothers, and then
They're
Austin
so
Theory and
boring, bro. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, they had them, and then the other match was Street Profits and AOP. Street Profits won. So next week it'll be Theory and Waller versus Street Profits, and the winner of that will get added to the ladder match, which I think is weird. I don't know why SmackDown's doing this, and Raw's just
Interesting
like,
decision, but I
yeah,
still I don't know who's I love Theory. I know a lot of people don't like him, but
I
I
love
enjoy
Theory.
his work with him. I like Grayson Waller. I have liked them as a tag team, but they haven't really been doing much. So them being added to this tag title match would be great to see. But at the same time, Street Profits sounds like they're just meant to be in a ladder match. That sounds right up their
And dude,
alley.
especially Montez Ford, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
and
Angelo Dawkins is extremely athletic for his size too, but
they've probably I don't know. They may have had a ladder match in the past. I actually
I
cannot
think they were in
recall.
they were in a ladder match in NXT
That's
actually.
what I'd say.
They
It sounds right, but it sounds right up their alley. So I imagine that Street Profits are going to win the match next week. But I'm cool with it
I
either way.
really want Theory and Waller to win, and I would honestly, dude, I would love to see them win the tag team titles.
Yeah, I mean I don't think that's
I
going to
don't see
happen,
it
but
happening, but I mean, I would love to see. I mean, I I enjoy them two together. I mean, they
yeah, I do too.
really
Yep.
they they've worked perfectly for each other, and
So
I would
far, my prediction though for sure is Austin
no
Theory.
no wait
Yeah, I guess save
wait
that for the video.
yes
Yeah,
wait
I'll explain why
freaking
since
idiot.
I said that.
Gosh, dude. Wait
Idiot.
until the prediction, dude. Come on.
I'm jumping the gun a little bit.
Yeah, you are. You need to slow down a little bit.
Slow
Take your
your roll.
exactly. Take your foot off the gas.
We'll have that video though before WrestleMania night one.
We will, unless you just want to go ahead and get it out of the way now,
Let
since you
me
already
just get them
started
all out of
it.
the way right now. Yep.
Okay, I guess now we can talk about this segment before I was really interrupted.
Rudely.
It was another promo, and honestly, I think this was probably the best promo of the week, if I had to be honest. I really enjoyed this promo from Rollins and Drew. Another great promo from these two. Just man,
They're cutting good promos every single week,
yes,
and
they are.
it feels like the past few weeks I'm gonna try not to rehash the exact same stuff I've been saying, but to sum
Yeah,
up
me
what
too. I'm
we've
trying
been
to do that
saying,
too.
Drew McIntyre continuing his stuff, Savage calling out CM Punk, calling out Rollins, and so
Hang
during
on,
this segment,
one second. I know I've said this a lot in past videos. I'm just going to say it again. Drew McIntyre is the best character right now. He
yeah,
he has
yeah, I it's
his character
definitely
work is the
arguable. Yep,
best.
he it has been just he's it's just like I said, we've covered this a lot the past few weeks, but his character is just so he's heel, but he's justified in his actions. It's not just oh he's a heel so he does bad things. It's he is a bad guy still. There's still that like he's just relentless with his insults against CM Punk, against Rollins, but they're all have some sort of motivation that makes sense, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And so during this segment, they were basically talking about that it wasn't it was a good segment, but they didn't, I don't think, covered very much new information. It was basically just accusing Rollins of being a spotlight junkie, that he is taking all the attention for himself. He just likes putting himself in the center of attention. And Rollins countered that by saying that like isn't that as professional wrestlers, isn't that what we're supposed to do, like what's the issue with that, like you're a spotlight junkie too, because he's always throwing himself into this type of stuff. and centering it. He's making it every wrestler. That's the point for them to make themselves the center of attention.
Hmm.
So I think that it was also nice that Rollins didn't just he gave a real logical response that kind of took away McIntyre's his his point. I think this was point one for Rollins during this segment.
Yeah, I like how Rollins mentioned he talked about like Drew being a spotlight junkie, and then he said that like your biggest spotlight was winning a world title in a warehouse, and how are you going to be able to like when the lights are on bright, are you going to be able to live up to the moment, pretty much. And yeah, like you said, that Rollins I think got the better of Drew in this promo, but still, I mean, still great work from both of them.
And that needed to happen. I mean, maybe
Yeah,
not
it did.
needed to happen, but it was, yeah, I think it was good. Because Rollins, we have had issues with him. A lot of the things fans been complaining about is that Rollins, he just, I love Rollins. I've always enjoyed his work. I still
Yeah.
do enjoy his work. But
Hmm.
one criticism that I think is completely valid is that his character sometimes he doesn't take stuff serious as he maybe should during certain times. He just has
Yeah.
that goofy, he comes out and dances, does whatever, he's not taken seriously. And Drew is forcing him to take this seriously. And during this segment on Raw, there probably was probably still did come out act a little goofy in the beginning, but he got serious
He a-
and he's
he
yeah.
actually interrupted Drew during Drew's entrance. Drew was like
Yep.
halfway down the entrance ramp, and they had a really great camera shot too, where Drew just looked so pissed, and then there's Seth Rollins in the background doing all of his dancing and whatnot.
Yeah. They're finally blending in. They're finding a good balance between the goofy side of him and the serious side of him. And
Yeah.
so that kind of reminds me of like what they did when it was Roman Reigns and LA Knight facing. Roman Reigns
Yeah.
held up the title, and when they do the like break in his song and he holds up the title and all this stuff goes on, LA Knight's theme hit in the back and he came out and just completely ignored him when he came out to the
Yeah.
ring.
I remember that. Yeah.
That is a great thing to add to show the level of like disrespect. He's showing disregard to him. He's just brushing by him,
Yeah.
and that's yeah. I think that was a great element for them to. This was a great segment to before it was just Rollins and Bloodline. Maybe not completely just that, but now it feels like Rollins has been getting more involved. He's taking McIntyre more seriously.
Yeah. He is. I cannot wait for this match at WrestleMania.
It's
It
gonna be a banger, to
dude,
quote
oh my
Sheamus.
God,
Banger
yeah.
after banger.
Dude, speaking of Sheamus, man, I miss Sheamus.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
I just
That was
you said Sheamus, and I was like, oh, dude, I miss Sheamus.
yeah. Well, he had that great match with McIntyre at geez, what pay per view was that? They had a great match though, and this can be a banger too.
Yeah, what
Banger.
was it? I mean, he had that great match at WrestleMania last year.
Hmm.
Oh, that I don't know how that reminded me of this, but did you see that they brought the Slammy Awards back for this year?
Yes, that's another thing I wanted to mention too. Yeah, they're bringing back Slammy Awards.
And
Uh,
for some
I'm
reason
excited for that.
that triple threat match from last year's Mania for the IC title wasn't in the nominee for
Oh,
you
I
know
didn't see they released nominees already.
yeah. I already
Ooh,
voted. I already submitted my votes.
I gotta go look at that for sure. But I
Yeah, you
think
can.
Slammy Awards is a great thing for them to return.
I'm so glad that they brought those back. I've been wanting to bring them back for a while. I know a lot of people didn't really they didn't really care for it, but I did.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. I think
I
it
mean,
was a
obviously, I think I mean, because I was going through all the nominees, and I was like, obviously, we all know who's going to win these nominees because they had like a OMG of the year, and I think they had like CM Punk's return, and they had another nominee for like Return of the Year, and they had CM Punk returning there.
Well, what I wonder what bracket like what is it just 2023? Because where does that end? Because my OMG moment would be Sami Zayn turning on Roman Reigns. But I could get Punk. I think those are two
Honestly, I don't know
close
if that was
ones.
in there. I didn't like. That may be in there.
I
If
don't
it
know. Now I
was,
think about it, that would be very close. Those two are insane moments. I mean, those are like
yeah,
generational. I mean, yeah, I would say generational moments. When we look back at 2020 as a decade, those are going to be two moments that I'm going to think of. So yeah, I'm going to go look at those nominations as soon as we stop this video.
I already casted my votes for all the female superstar of the year, male superstar of the year. They had quite a few. They had like entrance of the year, they had match of the year, and yeah, they
Yeah,
didn't have the triple threat match in the match of the year.
that's
I don't
weird.
know. Yeah, and
Yeah.
they had like Bad Bunny and Damian Priest in there. I know they had Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley from Mania last year. Oh, they had Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn from last year at the Elimination Chamber. I think this.
That's weird.
I
Yeah.
think that's the one I voted for. I think it was either that or Charlotte and Rhea Ripley because that was
I would
another
vote
great
for,
match.
I don't know. I'd have to see all the options because, yeah, I would probably vote for Charlotte and Rhea Ripley was really good.
Hmm.
Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns was good. I would have voted for the triple threat, honestly, but
Yeah,
I
if
guess
that
that's
was
not a
in there.
nomination.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not. All right,
Okay.
I think that's a good. I think we've covered everything. I'm.
Yeah, yeah,
It's currently like it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning.
yeah, yeah. We have gone. I think we've covered most of the stuff we need to, and I think I like this. This I think it gets a lot more. I like being able to cover everything at once. So
Yeah, so we
if
don't have to
you
keep going
guys
back.
let me know, like let us know what you guys think. Comment, let us know if you prefer it being covered in a timeline sort of fashion, or if you guys like this just piling it together and doing it by topic instead of timeline. I would be very interested in seeing what you guys think about that.
Yeah, yeah, I would too. And also, I have a comment. I want to do something different. I want to do a comment question of the week. And this week's comment down below in the comment section, obviously, since it is WrestleMania season, what is y'all's favorite WrestleMania of all time? Just let us know down in the
Oh,
comments
yeah.
below. You want to give yours real quick?
Ooh, you've put me on the spot. Favorite WrestleMania? Favorite WrestleMania. I would say overall the easiest answer would probably be 17. But I would say my personal one, like just completely my opinion, I would probably put it as geez, that's hard, man. Maybe 19. I think that would be pretty close. That would be 19 or 30 maybe. 19 or 30.
Yeah, those aren't bad at all. I got 17 or 28. I'm in between those two. I really love 28.
28's nostalgic for sure.
I actually watched that one the other night, and man, it brought back so many
Brought
memories.
back a lot of memories.
Yes,
Yeah.
it did. Oh my goodness. But yeah, for me, it probably had to be 17. I think that's the greatest
That's a
WrestleMania.
pretty
I
safe
mean, they're
pick.
just,
Yeah,
yeah,
classic.
but yeah, that pretty much does it. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, share it with a friend, all that great stuff. We hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next week on the Wrasslin City Podcast. See ya.